some places to stay, and some potential background covers for like rogue traders and stuff like that. And at the end of the last session, we basically split up. So Jericho, whose cover name inside the city is Carlos, Jericho stays in his apartment, and the other team, which was being led by Quentin at that time, went off to an area that Jericho recommended to set up a base of operations on the west side of the city, kind of in the slums, which was a spot that Jericho had picked out that would be well defensible and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So the rest of you right now are heading to. Basically, there are 3 levels in the city. At the top level, there are mostly nobles, merchants, that sort of thing. At the middle level, you see workers going on about their business. At the bottom level is just this horrible slum of literally people dragging themselves through trash and garbage in the streets. You can see daily muggings, people getting shot. It's just a horrible nightmare through the abyss of these huge bridges that form this large city. And you sort of look down and you hear the echo of people shouting and screaming in agony. And you don't want to go down there, but that is where the slum is, and that's where you're heading right now. So that's where you are. You're in Mobius 21, which is your private apartment. Is that right?
That is correct. Jericho is still there. So it was nighttime whenever we ended the last session. So during the daytime, Jericho is going to go to his contacts in the Senate and inform them about the landing of another rogue trader team, and kind of spread the word a little bit.
All right. Excellent. So your contact in the Senatorium is the Imperial Decreeist Marcus Conte. You sort of relay the information to him. He is a ambitious young bureaucrat. He's working with the Inquisition, so he knows you're actually part of the Inquisition. He is your main contact in the government, so to say. So you sort of relay that information to him. Walk out, see the city lights, and walk back to your apartment. And all the rest of you are walking to the slums. And that's where we can pop you in, Carl.
Okay.
You've been walking with the rest of the party for a while. They haven't noticed you so far. You've just been pulling in the background.
Shadowing them.
Yeah. And you can describe your character first.
Okay, so Elizabeth is a tall, slender, rough-looking woman. Not in the sense that she is unattractive, but rather the air of someone who's seen some pretty harsh things all the Imperium can throw at her, and walked through the fire and pain and come out stronger. She has a very shiny bionic arm on her right, which sort of begins just above the elbow. It's very high quality cybernetics, but she has been taking a knife to it in order to sort of scrimshaw her tattoos further down to replace the one that she lost to a encounter with a particularly nasty Xenos at an earlier stage. She's tattooed quite substantially. Her gear, in terms of what she looks like, she's wearing sort of typical leathers, a leather jacket over what appears to be some sort of mismatch of Imperial Guard armor. It's all battered, it's all worn, it's old armor, clearly seen its days, but has been carefully maintained to offer the maximum protection that it can still.
Could she be mistaken for an outlaw or a criminal?
Quite possibly. She has that kind of air of, you don't mess with this kind of person. So, and if you were to look carefully in her eyes, you could perhaps see the twitch of a regular drug user.
Also, so- Yeah.
as she walks. Go.
Okay, looking over your shoulder, that's what you see, this sort of scary sight, this woman approaching you. She's lit up by lumen globes, illuminating her through the thick fog and smoke that covers this dystopic city. All of you, as you try to breathe in, the air is like you can carve it with a knife. You're all struggling to draw breath. You're looking around and a few workers they look soulless. They have long stares and they sort of look at you for 1 second and look down at the ground. You look like a dangerous group of people. And as you're walking towards the slums, Adorna, what does your character look like?
They're unmuted too. Beside you see walking a rather tall and a bit older man. Grey hair, lined face, but remarkably sunburned, as if he has actually seen more sun than you usually do living in the hives. He's leaning heavily on his staff and favoring his left leg, taking small skipping steps as he's trying to keep pace with you. He is wearing some brown nondescript robes, and underneath you suspect that there is more to be seen, but it's not visible right now.
Yeah, he's a psycho if anyone's wondering. Ross, what does your character look like?
Okay, Ross is a short woman with long blonde hair, and she barely looks like a criminal, but that's where she came from, because she's rather not very brave woman, so she ran away from most of the stories. She's wearing regular armor and like a flowery t-shirt on top of it because she was so excited that she's finally on a planet with a real sky. And
So
it's
it's
still
like a
vacation
Hawaii
for
shirt?
her. Yes, like a Hawaii shirt.
Nice. Outside of the armor, so it's sort of like huge.
Yeah.
I love it. Is it a flak armor?
Yeah.
Nice. Quentin.
Right. Quentin kind of is walking just a little bit ahead of the group, just taking that position of almost natural leadership. He stands tall, but instead of many of the Adeptus Arbites, he doesn't stand with arrogance. He's enjoying the seediness. It reminds him of many places he's been before. He's wearing his Adeptus Arbite armor, but it's covered up with a shirt and a trench coat that kind of hides it away. And it definitely has a couple of suspect bulges and parts where weapons are most certainly
weapons.
hidden.
Okay, thank God.
His hair is quite long, but combed back in a mature style, and he's got fleckles of grey growing in it and in his nicely trimmed beard. And he, as always, has his eyes set on the sights before him, looking for any piece of interesting information, anything to draw him away as he thinks on his mission and what is coming forward.
As you see a lady, she looks like she would speak High Gothic, but you probably don't know how to. Oh wait, you are from a High Gothic world, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm from a frontier planet.
Oh, okay.
I might have High Gothic though. Hang on, let me check.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I do. From being an Adeptus Arbite.
She's in a conversation and she sort of turns her head to look in your direction, just sort of wondering what the huge shadows on the right side of her vision are. She meets your eyes and she's like 1 meter away from you, and she's sort of just stunned for a moment as you pass her. Do you do anything or gesture to her?
Quentin kind of stops next to her, squares his shoulders back a little bit, and he goes, "Well, are you finding something that you like to look at?"
She immediately blushes and just looks down at the ground and starts coughing.
Quentin pulls out a small little data slate, the kind that you'd write like a simple note on, and he just writes their upcoming stay location and slips it forward to her. "Well, should you find that you want to keep looking, I'm known to be found at this address."
Do a charm check.
Oh, hey!
+10 because you You actually know the language.
Did I just clicked off Roll20 like fucking
Oh,
God damn it.
Do it
I do this
afterwards,
every
do it afterwards.
time.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a big deal.
I'll do it while you're talking.
Yeah. Tristan, you're working next to him. What do you look like?
Electra is very much Amazonian. She's very tall. She's like around oh gosh, how do I do it in metric? Like 185 centimeters tall. Very muscular, very athletic, high cheekbones, chiseled features. She still has the bandage on her left cheek. Her hair is dyed black. She has very piercing blue-green eyes, and a multitude of scars on her face from various encounters of the violent kind. She would be within earshot of Quentin, right?
Yes, definitely.
Who's done your roll?
Because she also speaks High Gothic. And she would definitely shoot him a disapproving stare.
And Quentin would most certainly not give an iota of a shit.
Nice.
As he lays on the charm, he's a bit rusty from the years, but the High Gothic kind of flows through him, and he's able to seal it with a little bit of a wink,
Awesome,
like the
guys.
charming rogue that he is.
Guys, you guys are so good at describing stuff. Holy crap. This is amazing. Thank you. Okay, so you're walking on this bridge, and for simplicity, I'm going to describe for the new people. I separate.
What happened to me and the lady?
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh.
But for simplicity, I separate the game into role-playing moments and combat moments. So when I say go, or it's a role-playing moment, that just means make anything up, have a conversation, talk about your childhood, whatever. You do whatever you want, and it doesn't matter how long it goes on, just take the word and do whatever. If you just describe what your character looks like, something he's saying, that's awesome. We're a lot of people now, so we're probably going to talk over each other, that's also fine. Quentin, you sort of send this data slate over to the woman, and she looks at it for a moment, looks up at you, and you can see that she sort of gives a little slight smile at the, but she's not supposed to, and she's afraid that the person she's walking with is judging her. But she takes note of your address.
Will. That's all he says, is he kind of leads the group back onto the path, but he's smirking so wide that, it could almost split his face in two.
Awesome. And Ross, I'm guessing you have your video camera out filming this?
No,
No?
not this time. That would be really awkward to film someone's conversation.
Oh, now you're thinking about that, sure. So, okay, you guys are free to do whatever you want. Role-play moment. You're walking there on the bridge. You're on the way to the slums. Go. Do whatever you want. You're free to move around the city.
Have any pawn shops on the way?
Well, Quentin notices, an old friend following them back, and he kind of catches a glimpse of her through a dusty old mirror that he's walking past one of the windows, and he stops really suddenly and just spins on his heels, and he goes, Will, looks like trash, doesn't really change its color.
You can see, is it a woman or a man?
It's Carl's character.
It's Lisbeth.
Carl!
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Lisbeth. That's how he knows her.
Yes. Welcome, Carl. What do you say?
Lisbeth just gives you a slight smirk. Well, now, it's not one way to talk about yourself, is there? And you seem to have attracted more flies this time. How did you manage that?
Well, you'd have to send that question to the Inquisitor, which is why I'm assuming you're here. I'm guessing he thought, a cripple maybe add a little fraction to our power.
Elizabeth's cybernetic just twitches, just ever so slightly, and she just sort of gives you a snort. The Inquisitor has his own goals. I don't question him, neither should you. Anyway, what are we doing in this shithole of a place.
Well, I'll leave that to one of these folks. They started on this before me. Hey, Kit Kat, why don't you explain?
Well, from what I gather, we are going to the slums area to get. Wait, are we going to get the guy or are we going to get the dead drop?
You're going to get a place to stay.
Okay. Alright. So we are going to rent a hotel in like the worst area that we can get. Yeah, that's what we're going.
Oh, and as far as you're concerned, my name is Captain Hugh Jackman.
I'll
Make
just
sure
go
you
by
remember
Captain.
Oh god.
Captain Jack. Okay.
You are free to become one of my ship or crewmates, as I'm sure the Inquisitor would have imagined you as. Oh, and I don't think you've met our good old sister here. He points over to Electra, once again revealing that she's a sister.
She breaks her normal cool character for a moment and just looks at you with the most frustrated, exhausted, and disappointed look. Essentially, like, non-verbally just looking at you and saying she's given up. And Electra just sort of shakes her head and says, that would be an incorrect statement. I am Master at Arms Dominica of the Lone Star.
Oh yeah, that's our ship, the Lone Star.
Lisbeth offers her cybernetic out in the traditional warrior greeting, palm to wrist to. Sorry, what was your name again? The sister.
Electra.
Electra. Yeah. So she the traditional warrior grip to a fellow female soldier.
Electra would return the greeting.
We're part of the House Ryko, or something like that. Apparently they operate quite far from here, so it should keep our cover rather airtight. I would come up with a name and a position rather spiffy if I were you.
I'll keep my counsel on that. So, I see you're still with us, Kit. It's been a... How are you feeling after the adventures on the... crap, what's the name of the ship? Fuck.
Void Scraper.
Sorry. The Void Scraper. I see you... Have you recovered well from those? You kind of burned yourself a bit silly on the steam, didn't you?
I'm trying to repress those memories.
I wouldn't recommend that. Live them. Enjoy them. It means you're still alive.
At this point, can Quentin roll awareness to see if he spots Perrin?
Perrin
What
is
does he not
walking
need?
right next to you, so you're definitely spotting him.
Okay, so
Yep.
Quentin kind of notices Perrin sneaking up beside them, slipping into the group almost naturally, and he kind of raises his hand up as if to tell everyone else to shush. And he rounds up on the man, not really caring for his age or that he's clearly not the type to fight necessarily hand to hand, and almost body slams him as he kind of comes up in front of him. Well, you better explain what exactly you're doing, because I don't remember adding you to my group.
Excuse me. Were you not there for the briefing?
I was, but I don't remember you being there.
Oh dear. The Inquisitor added me to your group. I'm not quite sure why I'm supposed to be with the group that apparently awaits excommunication if failing this mission.
We don't talk about things like that. Those are the kind of things we leave till the job is done.
But we talk
Right.
openly about our mutual employer.
Well, you're the one talking openly about it. I don't remember it passing my lips. At that,
I'll add
Quentin
memory
just
problems
raises a
to
brow.
things you need help with.
At that moment, Quentin kind of just pulls him to the side, into like a little bit of a corner, and kind of shoves him against the wall. You got 5 seconds to show me what I need to see to prove that you're from the Inquisitor. 5, 4. You've got a rosette. 3,
You're like this lady all the time.
2,
I look at the other people, just, is he serious?
1.
What does anyone like give a hint of whether this is serious or not?
Quentin looks very serious.
Anyone else?
Elizabeth just taps at a holstered old pistol, and then lights up a low stick, just not really caring all that much.
Half. A quarter.
A half, a quarter, and I decide to dominate him.
Dominate me.
Yeah. Turn around.
Alright. Do a I don't know, willpower?
Yeah, that's
I
willpower.
guess
Both willpower?
it's his command against my willpower or both willpower?
Both willpower. Okay, we have the first cannibalism going on here.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
So you turn around.
I won.
He won.
Oh wait. Is it not degrees of success against degrees of success?
It is.
Yeah, it's opposed.
I suppose you won by 5. She got by 4.
I couldn't even roll any better.
Aw, you
I
rolled
rolled
really
a
well.
0.
That's a good roll. Okay, what happens?
Gosh darn it.
As Quentin turns around, I will just take a slight step away and walk back to the group.
Basically, you see this badass soldier stepping up, holding a finger against Perrin's face, threatening him. As soon as that happens, you see the finger go down. Quentin turns around almost with a blank stare and just takes a step towards you, and then Perrin walks off.
I'm guessing it lasts a few seconds.
Yeah.
At that point, Quentin kind of grabs his head and he goes, God damn it. Would he understand that it's a psycho ability? Probably, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. This is a psycho ability.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Ross looks at it in like absolute fear, makes like 5 steps away and uncocks our hair guns.
Now, all you had to do was show just a little something, and you had to make it a problem. Now, I don't like problems.
Very well. Let's just forget it all.
Should we smoke him?
I cast Erasure.
Oh my god. Another spell?
Yep.
Jeez.
Is it willpower again?
Yep.
Okay, what does it look like when you cast this spell, Perrin?
What the heck is your rolls? God damn it.
I essentially just look at him and I smile and I wave my hand and just like washing away something in the air, and you see the smoke trailing my hand as I do this. And afterwards, Quentin does not remember the problem.
Quentin kind of blinks a couple times. I'm assuming at this point he just accepts that you're part of the group and he goes, well, now that's all cleared up, he spends a moment and he just kind of blinks a couple times. I think we were heading off somewhere. Yeah, this way.
Yeah.
What's your name again?
If you look to the right side of the screen, you see a soldier imitating yeomanry. A soldier with that exact look walks towards all of you and looks very curious. And he's about 50 meters away.
So he's an Arbite.
No, but he looks very serious.
They have like a local force that is just like Arbits, but not Arbits here.
Okay. Quentin clears his throat and he kind of looks at the group. Looks like we got trouble, boys and girls. And at that point, he's already slipping his hand in to his coat where his shotgun lies.
Very well. We'll follow your lead.
At that point, Quentin kind of nods and looks around. We all in agreement that we gotta get a little physical with this, or are we gonna try and pretend that he's walking to us like this as a friend?
I would like to suggest
Can we what?
diffusing the situation and possibly letting him forget it as we
Can
start
we
moving
walk
away from each
slightly
other.
faster in opposite direction than him?
Quentin kind of raises his hands, lets his gun slip by. Well then, let's let the magic monkey do his tricks.
25 meters.
At that point, Quentin kind of steps away and allows Perrin to cast his psycho abilities.
10 meters.
I keep walking towards this other dude that is coming towards us, and as he's closing within 5 meters, I'm going to again just dominate first and ask him to
The
keep
first
walking.
thing he says is, "Citizen." And then, what happens?
He's cast to dominate.
Yeah, I cast the
Opposed
keep
willpower?
walking.
Okay. He fails.
Yes,
And you
Oi!
succeed. You don't.
and I succeed.
What happens then?
Yes.
So he basically stands in front of you. He's imposing, large. He draws his gun. Basically, he doesn't point it at you, but it just rests it against his hip. He displays several large weapons, a baton that lights up. He looks absolutely terrifying. As soon as he does that, something happens.
I just walk towards him, keep walking, just telling him mildly as I lean on my staff, keep walking, gesticulating with my right hand behind us. And as he keeps walking, I once again do this hand-waving motion in the air, hopefully clearing away any
Yes,
memory
very hopefully.
of this encounter.
Indeed. He fails gloriously. That is a fail of 4 degrees.
So I try and just vanish the whole street down since he turned a corner and saw us.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, using a lot of psychic powers there.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful stuff. The yeomanry guard passes and walks off into the mist behind you. The last thing you see is his helmet sort of shimmering in the street light as it disappears.
At that point, Quentin just kind of claps his hands. Well, what do you know? Magic monkeys, my boys, magic monkeys. And at that point, he kind of wraps his arm around Perrin and kind of gestures the group forward. You know, I never trust your lad, and Emperor, forgive me, I probably never will, but that was some fine deflection.
Thank you. Glad to be of use.
At that point, he kind of the group heads towards the hotel. Hopefully, we're not too far away.
Carl, Maria, and Perrin, you get inspiration points.
Whee!
Inspiration points is something you
Yeah.
get for cool descriptions of stuff you do, visual descriptions, good dialogue, that sort of thing. And it can be used to reroll anything that doesn't do damage. Alright, you guys are heading into the slum. Basically walking down some stone stairs into what looks like a classic, you can imagine a classic sci-fi slum. Neon lights flickering, broken windows, trash on the streets. Yeah.
What does the air smell like? Is it chemical rich? Is it or is it just purely recycled?
The air smells just thick. I mean, at this point, you've gotten used to this foul smell in the city. But you can smell something else here. Every once in a while, you just smell this horrible rotting smell, like garbage that's been laying around for weeks. There's trash everywhere, smashed vehicles, and you can see this is sort of the end of the night shift. You can suddenly see hordes of workers rushing between soul-crushing jobs and their homes, between these huge gothic spires stretching up to the fog above you.
As Lisbeth's walking with the group, she slowly sort of turns on the spot as she walks, arms sort of raised, just like almost just admiring and taking in the vista of awfulness around her, and you can see her just taking a really long, deep breath with a slight smile on her face, and she just mutters to herself, "Smells like home."
Now, those who want can do an awareness test.
Okay.
Oh, I passed.
Boom.
He's been passed like 5 times.
Oh my god, Quentin passed.
Once, no.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh wow!
Oh,
I like how on my screen it was blank for a few moments
Yeah.
and then became 99.
I thought it was a bug at first. Like 9.
I have 3D dice on, so it waits for me to roll.
Okay.
Yes, well, you do not succeed, Sister Electra. But Lisbeth, you see in the corner of your eye a woman dressed in black leathers. She has a pretty big holster with a big gun. She's sort of menacing looking. She's got red hair, flaming red hair. She sort of steps out from the shadows. She looks unnaturally well groomed to be down here. She looks like she's even washed. She sort of steps out of the shadow and gives you a menacing smile.
Lisbeth returns a smile and does a slight theatrical bow before looking back up at her again.
at this point, also Quentin is right next beside Elizabeth because he also noticed the woman.
She just follows you. She just walks like 10-15 meters to the right of you. Every once in a while, looks up at you, smiles. She looks very nice. I mean, it's surprising down here.
I turn to Lisbeth and is this an acquaintance of you, young lady?
Sort of keeping her head turned slightly to one side to keep the woman in her eye line. Lisbeth replies, "Oh no, she's new. You guys carry on." And Lisbeth will attempt to slip into the crowd of indentured workers and try and disappear from the woman's sight to double back and follow her instead.
Okay. You can do a stealth test. First of all, you get a +10.
Okay.
This is dark.
Can I use my fellowship to blend in with the crowd and use the fellowship rating rather than her
It's not an
agility?
important role, so sure. Go for it.
Okay, fair enough. Oh no, perception, sorry.
Yeah, perception is better.
There you go.
So what's happening right now? You're sneaking on her.
Basically, I'm separating from as we're walking through the crowds. As a particular big crowd crosses us, Elizabeth attempts to disengage from our group to double back to follow her as she follows you.
At this point, can I assume Quentin has noticed because he passed his awareness test before?
Mm-hmm.
He presses against the earpiece that they have and just kind of mumbles, but he manages to do it in such a way that you can't really tell that he's talking unless you're looking right at him. He goes, "If she turns out to not be the friendly kind of friend, you have permission to just take her out."
Like I need your permission, Arbeits.
Well, you'll need my permission if you want to live.
Keep
And
talking
he cuts off the connection and doesn't listen to the rest.
All right, Quentin, you follow her into the back alleys.
No.
She breaks off from the main street and walks into a back alley. What do you do?
So Elizabeth is following, not Quentin.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
What do you do as she walks into a back alley?
So wait, hang on. Are you asking me what I
Yeah.
do if?
She walks off the main street into
Oh,
the
right. So
back
she
alley.
breaks off as well.
Yeah.
I will attempt to remain stealth and follow her, trying to keep an eye on where she is going, or perhaps anyone else that she might be in the vicinity.
As soon as she walks off from the main street, you can barely see her through the thick fog and the lumen globes flickering in the back alley. She meets up with 4 other dubious-looking characters among some trash cans in one of the back alleys. She starts talking with them. They hand her something, and she quickly turns around.
Am I in the open?
Yeah.
I will try to seek some form of cover to conceal myself.
Okay, do a stealth test.
Oh my god!
Oh!
Inspiration point!
I went to reroll that because I'm not accepting that.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
There we go.
Hey!
Okay, so you quickly slip into one of the openings in the wall, and you see her run past you. She barely doesn't spot you. She runs back to the main street. What do you do?
I begin to. Can I take a check to see if anyone is still looking in this area, like the 4 key people she met?
Absolutely. So you look to your right, she ran to your left. As you look over, they immediately disband and walk into 3 different directions.
Okay. I begin to follow the woman, and I'll key the microbead to Quentin once more. And very short, very quietly, very quickly. Target has contacted 4 individuals. Object exchanged. Continuing shadow.
And then you can do an awareness test, -20.
Minus
Oi.
20.
Yep.
Nope.
Okay. She runs off, follows the rest of the group. You follow her again. Now the rest of you can actually see this woman appear from behind the back alley. She jogs to catch up with them. And you can see the hotel that you were given by Mogadishu. Mogadishu, if you can add your character name to the screen, that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so you see them basically walk up to the front of the hotel. The woman stands there, just observing them. She lights a low stick. What do you do?
Lisbeth's message, Quentin kind of nods and kind of looks at the group and taps the headset again for those who can hear, and it speaks in a very low voice, and he's like, well, I think that we're in a bit of a predicament, so we're not gonna go to the hotel yet. Group split off and watch to see who she tracks. If you're not tracked, double background and follow her.
Why don't you just, flirt with her too, Captain?
I don't know, she looks like she's in a rush. I'm not sure she's the kind that wants dalliance.
I think
It
not your
worked well
time,
the
right?
last time.
Wait, is it the same woman?
No, it's not.
No, it's
Yeah,
different
yeah.
one. No,
No,
from the noble. Not the noble that he flirted with.
Right, no, it's not.
Quentin kind of just looks at the group and then goes, well then you guys scatter and watch my back. And he clears his throat. Licks his eyebrows just a little bit. Flicks his hair back. And just kind of comes to a stop and pivots around on his foot. Right into that woman. Again. And he
Great, I'm preparing my camera.
Awesome.
And at
I'm
that
gonna
point,
slip into an alley and just shift my coat around so the worn side is on the outside, and after that I'm gonna just sit in a corner and play the beggar.
and he just clears his throat. And he just leans forward a little bit and he goes, well, I've been known to have myself a little admirer or so, and you seem to be really interested in me, and I happen to have a room, the intimate kind, with a bed that just about fits too, and some rather good amasec. So let's stop the game and just get to the action.
So you're talking to the red-haired lady?
Yeah.
Yes.
Scarlet woman.
Yeah. She has curly, sort of tall hair fastened by big metal nails in an X shape. She wears a leather outfit in a provocative style, if you can imagine. She carries an electric rod at this point, and an auto pistol. By this point, you can see over her shoulder several punks appear from the street, for lack of a better word, appear from the back alleys.
Now, I don't normally do the whole group orgy thing, so you're gonna have to give me a little something before I sign up to this.
She walks over to you, sort of slithering like a snake, and says, "Why, a big man like you doesn't need guns to protect himself, right?" She holds a hand over your gun.
At this point, he's reaching for his auto pistol on his other side. Actually, no, he's reaching for his shock maul on his belt. And kind of moves around. And he goes, "You know what? You're 100% right. I don't need any guns." And at that point, he like unclips his shock maul and just swings it around towards her.
We can do this in a lot of ways. Doesn't have to go this way, you know.
At that point, he stops his shock maul just by her head and he goes, "Well, you see, you kind of made it seem like one way, and you better talk quick for it to be another."
I think you've got something I want. I just want to talk to you for a moment. Would you like to join me?
Well, women always say I got something they want. It's normally a bit lower down than where you're touching, though.
She goes, "You're uptight. You look like you've been tied up by duty for too long."
At that point, Quentin lowers the shock maul and he kind of shrugs a little bit. "Well, where'd you happen to want to have this one-to-one encounter?"
Well, I mean, I don't know about your friends. I don't know if they're like me.
"I don't have any friends."
She looks over her shoulder. But weren't you just with a group of people?
"I don't know if you've seen the street lady, but there are groups of people everywhere. I was just walking, all by myself."
She smiles, and sort of as she stands there, the punks get closer to you. Now, what is the rest of the group doing? The rest of the party?
I am trying to sneak to get a clear shot of this action to be very near to this lady.
I'm hopefully sitting at the closest street corner, just lurking in my shabby clothes and slowly getting out my needle pistol.
Lisbeth is actually, am I behind her, the woman, or am I? How's it happened? I'm not sure.
It is a long street with a bunch of trash, back alleys, places to hide. You can be in wherever you want.
Elizabeth is going to be sort of half slumped against a collection of trash. Her las rifle propped up against the refuse that she's leaning in, with a clear eye on Quentin, the woman, and just drawing a bead with her rifle on both, ready to fire if need be.
Awesome.
Yes, as I'm sitting there, I'm gonna tap my microbead and just, young Quentin, if you want me to read her, just try and signal in some way.
Quentin kind of runs his fingers through his hair and taps 3 fingers on the back of his head. And nobody picks up the sign? Yes, no, maybe so.
It is happening. I'm just trying to... How far away is she?
That's up to you.
You're
Depends
all
on what you-
within like 10-15 meters of each other.
Okay, well that's great. Then I can go for the best setting. Right, I actually have 10 more on my target. So 2 degrees of success.
And what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to read her mind.
Okay. Is it an opposed test?
Yes, willpower again.
Willpower again. She succeeds. 2 degrees of success.
Very well, that would mean that she resists me, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, I believe that if it's a draw, it's victory is given to the victim, not the caster.
Yeah, figured.
Can you not reroll?
Right.
You've got
I
an
do
inspiration point.
I can use that for this as well.
Yep.
Oh, well, obviously doing that then.
Perils.
Oh!
Oh,
Boy!
This could be fun. This could be fun. Peanuts.
I didn't think he could really get too much worse than 55, but boy was I mistaken.
indeed. Well, it's better than rolling doubles at least. Now I'm not on doubles anymore.
Do you know what to roll, Perrin?
I'm not into perils, right?
I called perils before he rolled. That was my call of. That I was calling perils before he rolled. So just the timing may have come up a little bit different over the headset. but it's failure, regardless.
And I'm just like, sorry, can't read her.
And are you rolling on the table?
No, he's just failed.
No.
He's not got perils.
Oh, you didn't get perils. Okay. I'm not following the screen that you're on. Alright. Well, the woman pulls out a gun and points it at your chest, Quentin. Several of the thugs start to surround you.
I thought we were gonna have ourselves a conversation. This doesn't seem very one-to-one talking.
She goes up to your hair. We are on my terms. And looks over your shoulder.
Well, I don't like your terms. And he's, again, kind of raising LP Shockmore. So, you offered to do this civilly, and I'm playing the game.
She
But if
interrupts
those
you,
guys keep...
and she walks back, sort of, and loosens her hair, pulls out the gun, and changes attitude completely. Walk! Points at the back alley. Now!
You know, the day I listen to Scum is the day you might as well remove my head from my body. And at that point, he whistles, and he pulls out his shotgun.
Nice.
What?
Two of the guys
I have-
run up to you and try to restrain you.
No. Roll
No.
back to the moment when they were immobile.
Can I
want
not
to
shoot
sneak
at them
up
if
to
they're coming up? If they're coming up?
You don't have to.
Elizabeth.
They're right next to you. They're coming up to you on both ends of you, like both of your hands.
So is it a
Grabbing you.
strength roll?
I wanted to sneak up to
But-
them and put a grenade in their pants.
But before you do that, Ross, you all have one action before, right as they start to run towards Quentin. So they're running up to Quentin right now. You see the woman pointing her gun at Quentin. What do you guys do? All of you get one action. Whoever wants can start.
I obviously shove a grenade into pants of one of them.
Sure.
Do I have any aim bonuses for setting up in the way I did?
Yeah, sure. Plus
Okay. Plus 10. Lisbeth will take a shot at the lead grunt as he runs.
Okay.
Short range.
Short range.
Protect your leader!
Yeah, we tried.
Oh,
No,
God.
she misses. The action's too quick. Her shot goes wide.
It flies over their heads. They immediately duck down as a reflex, pull out their auto pistols, and frantically look over their shoulders, unaware of your position.
This is when I take a step forward to them. It was him, shoot him, pointing at one of them and focusing my dominating power on the closest of them to me.
And he succeeds. 2 degrees of success. Sorry, 1
And
degree.
apparently, it's not my day anymore.
Oof.
God
Yeah.
damn it, you're gonna all get your leader killed!
You wasted it on Captain.
Save the day, Ross. What do you
Okay.
do?
Well, I thought I want to throw the grenade, but actually I think there is... I don't know, maybe I should try to catch their leader as a hostage. What should I do to test... what should I test to do that?
You want to run up with your gun and attempt to intimidate her, basically. Or do you just
Yeah,
want to
probably.
surprise her and disarm her?
Probably grapple her and put a gun to her head.
Awesome. Okay, so you run out from the back alley, charge her, and you can do a strength test.
It's gonna be hard. Don't be a win for us.
I'm not so
Fail.
sure. She got a 95 on a roll.
Oh wow!
She basically doesn't see you at all, so you don't have to use any force whatsoever to grab her. So you're just holding on to her,
Okay.
controlling your gun arm. What do you do with her?
I really hate redheads, so can I just point blank shoot her in her dominating arm
Oh,
so she
God.
cannot shoot?
Shoot her in the
Sure.
head then! God,
This is
Don't
real
you
good.
want to ask her questions?
okay, yeah, well, no.
Since you're
Ignore
running
me.
up to her and you already did all this stuff, you just like, as you're running, you're trying to shoot from your hip. I'm gonna give you a -10 ballistic test. Just do a straight up ballistic test.
even point blank and save that.
Oosh. Nope. Unfortunately, your gun goes off. Doesn't hit her.
But you're still grappling her.
Yeah, probably.
You're holding on to her gun. You can see there's this gunpowder fill the air around her. She's in shock. Anyone else?
Sister Electra.
I think really Electra's going to just sort of draw her chainsword and hang back, but use her presence to reassure and inspire the others. So I'm gonna do a command inspire check.
Yeah.
Good roll.
And I have Halo of Command, so if they're within 400 meters of me, they should get my bonus.
What's the bonus that we are getting?
I believe... I think it's plus 10? I'll have to read real quick.
Alright, write it in the chat. The two men,
Yep.
one of them turns around, tries to shoot you, Ross. He gets a penalty to hit since you're standing close to him.
Do I get an action GM or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Forgot about you.
Quentin obviously shoots one of the guys that's heading towards him.
Yeah.
And
So you quickly turn around with your shotgun.
Yep.
Or is it your other gun?
No, my shotgun. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit. He's wearing
Dude,
basically
one
no
hits.
armor. You see just parts of his skin fly off. His leather jacket loosens, and you see just this puff of blood cover his face and his arms as he just sort of stands there in shock. He is bloodied.
Will, you think you're gonna take me like I'm some punk? Think again, bastard.
Now he turns towards you and fires his shotgun. Completely missing. He
Yay!
rolled terribly. The other guy crouches down, runs towards you, Ross. You're standing next to this redheaded woman. He's trying to get a point blank shot at you, your head, and then he rolls a 97.
Oh, this guy is worse than me.
Jesus Christ!
Is that a jam for
Yeah,
a
that is a
for a
jam.
shotgun? Stovepipe.
So yeah,
How could you miss with a shotgun?
at point blank range, he sucks.
Jamming it as well.
It's just shame to whole planet.
The red-haired woman, however, opens up.
Would she not have to break free though? Because she's been grappled right now.
She'd have to take control of the grapple first, I think.
She's still holding her gun with her firing hand. She gets a penalty to hit. She's sort of trying to hit you, Ross. It is a complete clusterfuck right now. Her gun just goes off. The street lights up intermittently with these bright flashes. She has a pretty powerful gun. And you guys can go again.
I think Quentin is just gonna attempt to shoot the one that is heading towards Kit.
Yep.
Is he allowed to aim?
No.
Okay.
Because you're not at this moment.
Oh, bloody.
Lisbeth will, while Quentin does this, Lisbeth will
Completely messes,
Click, click.
yeah.
curse
Dungeon.
curse herself underneath her breath, take a steadying inhale, and she will use her turn to fully aim at the redhead woman as she fights with Ross.
Yes. Anyone else can go?
Yes, I will take a look at the red-headed woman again and just take a few steps closer again, point at her and say, disarm.
And say to some?
He's trying to dominate.
Oh. That is a success.
How many degrees?
1 degree.
Okay, yeah, she drops her gun.
Okay.
Or guns.
Red-haired lady drops her guns. Anyone else? Let's go quick. Sister Electra?
I think she's sort of done the best she can without murdering people.
Murder people! Quentin kind of taps his headset if he gets a second. What the goddamn thing are you doing? Is that chainsaw for decoration?
I thought someone asked us not to kill all of them so we can ask questions later.
The grunts! The woman is fine. Leave her alive, but kill the rest.
Oh, alright. And she'll use Quick Draw to pull out her flamer.
Okay.
I'd like
And-
to. Go on.
And get into position.
Oh, jeez, don't
Um,
shoot this way. Don't point it this way.
And she's gonna level it at the grunts and say, if you don't want to be burned alive, drop your guns and run away.
Do an intimidate check. Or command. You can choose.
Oh, command, definitely.
Good roll. Good roll.
Okay. They drop their guns and run away. As the red-haired woman sort of stands there alone. What do you do?
That's it. Quentin steps up to her, still holding his shotgun up, really level until he gets right in front of her and he just points it right at her head. Kit's still grappling her, right? Yeah.
I have nothing better to do.
And he just kind of leans forward and he's got like an almost cruel smile on his lips and he goes, Will, I think you wanted to talk, so we're gonna take you off to my favorite little place where there'll be no questioning eyes as I pull off each of your fingers. And he kind of cocks his gun and he goes, Now drop your pistol or you're not gonna have any brains left.
She's dropped her weapons already.
Is she actually?
She is dominated currently.
Oh, okay.
Do you release the dominates?
Oh yeah, it's just one short action and then it's gone.
Okay, so as
Yeah,
soon
okay.
as the action is gone, she jolts off and tries to free herself from your grapple.
Oh no.
At this
So
point,
do
can,
a
Quentin-
strength test, Quentin.
Can Quentin help?
You
If she's
probably
attempting
can.
to pull free.
Sorry, Ross. Do a strength test.
I
We'll
am
do that
doing. I'm
first.
waiting for Quentin's help, by the way.
You don't need it,
Don't need
apparently.
it.
As soon as he tries to get off, Ross jumps almost over her. What does it look like, Ross, when you stop her from running away?
Well, I don't know. I thought she's just trying to, free herself, and I know I twist her hands behind her so she can't run or something.
Yeah, she is trying to get away. Ross is holding her back. Quentin, you come up, grab one of her hands. She can't run away.
Yep. At that point, Quentin kind of hits the butt of his shotgun into her stomach. And as she's kind of keeling over, he just leans down and grabs his manacles from his belt and manacles her legs. And he goes, Well, now that you put up such a fuss, I'm just gonna have to drag you, aren't I?
She's grinning her teeth at you like, fuck you!
At that
She
point,
spits at you.
Oh, Quentin, like, the spit lands on his cheek and he just kind of wipes it away and he goes, Oh, the spitting's for later, darling. Before he kind of just yanks her legs up, making her slam onto the floor and starts to drag her down the street.
She shrieks and yells at her buddies to run away as she's dragged down the streets. And you're standing in front of the hotel. Do you want to go somewhere else, or you're in there?
Oh, we're going to the reception with a shrieking lady that is being dragged by her feet.
Could look like a bounty hunter.
Quentin
Yeah,
just
right, let's
shrugs.
do that.
Quentin just shrugs and gestures around. Have you seen where we are? We're at the lowest of the low. Ain't no one gonna pay us any attention.
Yeah.
Lisbeth is going to remain in the trash heap and keep an eye on the front door of the hotel.
At that point, Quentin kind of kicks the door of the hotel open and just strolls over to the reception, dragging the woman behind him.
Do you want me to hold on to her when you are, getting the rooms?
At that point, Quentin kind of glances over at Ross. and raises a brow and then shrugs and lets go. Well, you kept a good pair of hands on her before, Kit Kat, so I can't see why not. At that point, he kind of heads over to the reception.
You walk up a small flight of stairs as you open a wooden door with a broken window. It gives a shrieking sound as you open it, and you step inside and you see. Basically, it looks like it's been bombed. There's just like planks hanging from the ceiling. The walls are in total disrepair. However, there is a reception desk with a pale-looking man sort of leaning over, half asleep. He looks up at you as you enter. And the quick ordering of the room, he doesn't pay any attention to the shrieking woman. You can do an influence test, +10.
Okay. Good thing I added that extra influence.
And you can do commerce if you want to try for a modifier.
I don't think I even have any points in commerce.
At this point, I kind of wish I'd come with you because I've got commerce. I've got commerce too.
Yeah, me
That
as
would have
well.
been useful.
Oh well. +10 you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, bloody bolt. I'll use my reroll.
Alright.
Sorry, I'm so slow, bloody laptops.
No worries. Yeah, he denies
Oh,
you
well.
a room. And he sort of stops you for a moment, looks at the woman and goes, I don't want this shrieking woman in here.
She's not staying, Ross yells over the corridor.
Quentin kind of takes a moment, breathes in and out, because in his bones he just wants to blow this man's skull off, as he denies the influence of Quentin Harlock. And then he pauses a moment, turns over to Ross and jabs his finger over. You try.
Okay, Captain.
At that
I'll
point
come
he
to the
walks over
reception.
to the lady, takes over holding her, gives her a couple of gentle quote-unquote kicks to the side to allow his irritation.
Awesome.
I'm trying to request a room. I'm doing marvelously. I
Uh,
hope we're getting the best apartment.
Ross, what does it look like when you walk over? Much more measured, calm. You know, what do you say? Or what is it about you that's convincing at this moment?
Well, I honestly don't know.
You have no idea.
Probably
why
the
you would let
flowery
me buy a
shirt.
room.
The flowery shirt.
It must
Probably
be
the shirt, yeah.
the shirt with a few holes in it. Excellent. Yeah.
No one shoot me, it's pristine condition.
You get a key and walk up some stairs. As you come to your room, you got actually a pretty nice room. You have a view of the plaza, and you have a view of the palace. There are 2 rooms, several beds, a little wooden table, and that's it. 2 windows. You're in your room right now.
I have left Quentin and the shrieking woman downstairs.
Okay.
No, I'm asking.
What? I was away from home. What?
Wait, so you just went off to the room and didn't tell him?
I just got it. I probably should,
Quentin
let
kind
you
of,
in.
yeah, Quentin taps his earpieces, just kind of waiting for a while, and he goes, "Well, Kit Kat, are you gonna tell me some good news, or are you gonna leave me waiting here? Cause this woman doesn't want to shut up, and I have a feeling I want to cut her tongue out."
I really don't want interrogation into my hotel room, but I guess you are welcome to enter.
She spits at you again and says, "If Sophia knows about this, you're dead. Trust me,
Oh,
you're all
what's-
dead."
Sophia, that's a name I want to hear more of, darling. Oh, you're gonna be screaming her name all night long.
Sophia
daddy kind of-
runs the scavengers. Do you know where you are? You fucking idiot. You're in our turf.
At that point, Quentin kind of leans down, grabs her jaw, slams it shut, and then just drops a bunch of spit all the way down her face. And he goes, "That's how much I give a shit about your fucking turf. You messed with the wrong motherfuckers." And at that point, he just pulls her up the stairs into the hotel room. And
She looks around and goes to the rest of you. "Look, if you don't want to die, you better release me right now. I swear this whole apartment is gonna go up in flames. You're all gonna die."
With the mention of flames, Electra's eyes sort of light up a bit, and she instinctively reaches for her hand flamer.
Now, you've been saying some interesting things. Quentin kind of is talking now, and he kind of almost sits down beside her on the floor, and he's pulled out his lighter, and he's just kind of flicking at the lid, open and closed. And he goes, "Now, you talked about some scavengers, some Sophia. Why exactly is she bothered about our little group?"
The Forsaken Scavengers? You really don't know? You don't know where you are? Where are
That's
you
what
even
can-
from?
Can I roll under whatever?
Definitely, you can roll for any kind of lore
Underworld.
that is relevant.
Oh well. Nope.
Yeah, no, you don't know.
Quentin,
Is
how
anyone-
loud are you, seeing as I'm sitting on a corner across the street?
Oh yeah, at this point, he taps in his headset and he's
I
already
know.
told everyone to come back in. They've got a room.
Lisbeth
I think I
Denies.
know. I think.
Elizabeth denies the request and remains outside.
God damn it, woman! I knew the minute you came back, it's gonna be trouble. Come back in.
If you give me what she says, I will go out and find it. Also, she has something on her. She exchanged something with the guys that attacked you.
Well, thank you for the beautiful piece of information, miss. I wanna die tomorrow. And at this point, Quentin's just kind of looking up at the rest of the group and he's just doing like a circular motion by his head to indicate he thinks she's crazy. And then he just sighs and turns off the microbead and turns back to the charge below him. Kit, you apparently know something.
Yeah, I probably know something.
Kit, you know that the scavengers, they're basically roaming around on Aventine, robbing nobles. They run the quote-unquote underhive in the palace city.
Alright, so they're just like a regular pickpocketer guys, or what?
They're pretty organized. They have what you could call almost like a standing army.
Oh.
And this woman, from your short interactions with her, you assume that she's sort of a middle-rank person in this gang.
Middle managers.
Yep. She keeps threatening all of you, spitting at you,
Well,
saying you're all gonna die in the most horrible ways. You're gonna get decapitated. You're gonna burn.
At this point, Quentin just
accept
kind of
nothing less.
just sticks his boot in her face, just kind of rubs it in a little bit, and he goes, yeah, you know, you keep talking the same crap, but it's not what I want to know. Now, why did you pick us?
Are we already in a hotel room?
Yes, we're in the hotel room.
Watch out for the furniture. It's on my name.
You can roll. Yeah, you can roll interrogation whenever you want.
I have coordinated interrogation as well,
Oosh.
which
Nice.
I think is plus
You
10.
really want to coordinate it with Ross.
Well, you know, just all our presence together. Is a, Does anyone else have a coordinated interrogation?
Sorry, I haven't gotten there yet.
I wasn't sure if anyone else would do it, so I didn't go in for it. But I do have interrogation as a skill.
Yeah, but for future, if anyone gets it, just let me know so I can add a plus 5 every time. Hey! That plus 10 came in handy.
Okay, excellent. So what are you doing to sort of to interrogate her?
Well, he's kind of put his boot to her face and he's kind of smushing it into the ground so hard that she probably can't even breathe very well. And at this point, he's also using his shotgun to kind of just slowly drag down her clothes, pressing the butt of the shotgun down and making her feel very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, she has some nosebleed going on right now. She's sort of just grunting in pain, and you can ask her one question. What do you ask?
Why and how have you found us? Why'd you want us in particular?
She's pretty tough. She's not breaking down from this. She's just sort of grinning at you. You look like you had money. I don't fucking know.
At this point, Quentin kind of just... I might have to roll interrogate again, but he's just kind of pushing it harder, and he's like, who told you to pick us?
She coughs. Nobody, I just saw you on the street. You look like you have some expensive equipment. I just wanted to rob you. I don't know who the fuck you are.
Thanks for the Jericho. At that point, Quentin just kind of releases the pressure on her head, and he looks over at Ross and kind of gestures over to her. Yeah, feel her and strip her. Our tin can out back says she might have something. Now I didn't want to touch a lady wrong. At that point, he kicks his victim in the stomach before he lets go and lets Ross.
She crawls up and into a ball and then sort of sits up again in this tight leather outfit. She just seems like she's resigned or given up a little bit. Sits there with a dead expression.
Oh. Alright, so Rose approaches her and asks her if she can stand up with her hands spread out, like in a,
Well, she can't even get up. She's manacled at the feet.
No, she can stand.
Yeah, she's leaning on some of the furniture and slowly like crawls up to a standing position.
Thank you.
Hands
And
up.
I search her.
Yep. You find some notes that basically sound like a bunch of commands from Sophia. Sophia goes again. This seems to be her boss somehow, and Sophia has something to do with the scavengers.
Yep. And is there something particular about us or where we actually are?
Not at all. No mention of you.
Right. I share notes with Quentin.
Quentin kind of just strokes his chin and goes, well, it seems like she was telling the truth. At this point, he kind of taps his microbead on so everyone can hear. Well, group, we got a decision to make. Now, I'm in favor of stringing this bitch up and hanging it from the front of our hotel door so that the rest of them don't come knocking. But that might make them angry. But I'm hesitant if we let her go, it's gonna make them angry either way.
Do you remember the problem we had earlier?
Inspiration point, Maria.
Yay. Quentin just kind of raises a brow and he goes, you're gonna have to be more specific. I've had about 50 problems in the last 100 seconds.
I'm just suggesting that if she doesn't remember the interrogation, it might be less of a problem to let her go than it was before.
I see, but we also have a bunch of dead bodies outside. I don't know.
No, we don't.
But no one died.
No one
Yeah.
died? Oh.
Yeah.
Scrap that. Quentin kind of just nods slowly and goes, alright, Magic Man.
Can you
Do
turn
your
it
mystery.
into our friend?
Sorry, say that
Sorry?
again?
Can you turn her into our friend?
Darling, I don't think the magic works like that.
No, sorry. I think that ship has sailed. I'm just gonna sit down in front of her and put my staff across my knees and wave the hand again very slowly through the air and say, I hope this will give us at least some goodwill.
Okay. Sorry, I was reading something. What did you say?
Yeah, I'm doing erasure on the
Erasure.
red they do.
Fail.
Just removing. Okay,
Only
she
good.
does not remember the interrogation.
Excellent. As she comes to, do you want to do this and just sort of let her into the hallway, or?
Yeah,
No,
we
no.
just... Oh, go on.
Yeah, we're doing it in the room, and I'm just gonna before she goes. It was very nice talking to you. I hope that you understand that we want to have some goodwill with you and your organization in the future.
She turns around, sort of like in total shock, and just stares at you as she slowly walks backwards and hits the wall in the hallway. She immediately touches the bottom of her nose with a quick twitch of her hand and looks at the blood coming out of her nose. And she just sort of whispers something to herself and then starts jogging down the hallway.
Have a nice day!
Quentin kind of taps his microbead and he says, Tin Can, if you're still watching or listening, we sent the victim out. She shouldn't remember anything. Just make sure that's the summary of all of this.
Excellent. Okay, that was awesome, guys. Yeah, you all get an inspiration point for awesome role-playing. And Jericho, we're gonna
Yes.
jump back to you. You're in the city. You're walking across the plaza. And you're going back to your apartment. This is a little bit earlier, so just turning back time a little bit. I'm assuming you dropped by the dead drop location?
Yeah, just in case there's any.
Alright. As soon as you sort of open it up, what is it, by the way? Can you describe it to the listeners?
The one that's near the slums, is that the one you mean?
I mean the fish, the tail that can be removed.
Yeah, so that's the one near the slums. So that dead drop, it's actually a statue, and it sits on a small plaza, and the plaza is very disused. It used to have like a little bit of plants and things like that, but with all the smog and smoke and chemicals in the lower part of the city, the plants have all just kind of withered away and turned brown and scraggly, and they've all died. And on the edges of the plaza, on all four corners, there are four separate small statues. And one of them, which Jericho had mentioned to the team he was using as a dead drop, is the picture of a man with, he has a trident, and he's spearing a type of local fish. And at the very tail end of the fish, there's a small portion of the statue that's actually been slightly wired shut and can be removed just a little bit. And there's not much space in there, but there's enough to leave like something about the size of a small data slate, basically.
You find a data slate inside.
Perfect. I will take it out and put it inside his long jacket, and then find someplace discreet and out of the way to give it a quick glance. And he especially wants to check and see if there's any encrypted portions or anything like that.
As you walk up closer to your apartment, you sort of find a secluded place, sit down, and Reisner, what is on the note?
It's easier for me to post it than it is to say it.
Sure.
So I'm just going to post it in the chat.
Mm-hmm. You can just sum it up in with what it says, basically.
It's written in High Gothic on just a scrap of book. Like the page came from a book, and on the back end of it is some sort of description of a plant. And then on the other side, like written over the text that would be further describing the details of this plant, is this strange message in High Gothic. And I posted it to Discord.
It's kind of cryptic almost.
Yes, it has a flowing kind of High Gothic meter to it, so it can be a little difficult to read.
The data slate lights up in the night sky above. You can see clouds slowly moving on the skies. It's sort of dark blue. The only person you can see around is Yeomanry Guard patrolling one of the bridges in front of you, and you're sitting on this bench all alone. It's sort of humid, warm. It's about to go dark. What do you do, Jericho?
Sorry, along with the message is a ending tag in Technolingua that has a location on the planet.
So it's basically like a coordinate.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, Morton. The dead drop should only be known to members of his cell, so he is assuming this is from them.
Yep.
But has he ever received a message like this before, like a previous communication in this style?
You have not.
Interesting. So he will start to commit everything to memory first, if he can, as far as like the message. And then he's going to not try and puzzle it out or anything like that. He simply slips the data slate back into his long coat and starts to walk back to his apartment. And then he hits his comm bead and brings up Quentin's frequency. Jackman, come in.
Blinks as he gets this message coming in. And he, for a moment, just looks around and then clears his throat. Jackman coming in?
This is Carlos. I have an object of interest. How's your situation?
Situation is calm and fine. What is this? In fact, tell me when I could see this object and where.
Jericho says, actually, stand by to copy. I want there to be more than one copy of the message. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready when you are, sir.
Jericho.
He says this rather sarcastically, by the way.
Jericho slowly starts to read the message in High Gothic in a very quiet, whispered tone as he is walking in a very steady, measured, casual, normal pace back towards the Senate Plaza. And he pauses at every point that the looks like a poem would kind of pause to let Quentin like copy down the message.
Right. So the plaza is this massive gravel square surrounded by lines of grass and trees. At the far end, the opposite side of the plaza, where people live, opposite of the palace, it's sort of surrounded by government buildings, massive grey bridges with ramps leading down to the plaza, surrounded at 3 different levels above ground. The plaza itself is the sort of at busiest, filled with markets, parades, chanting fanatics, but at night, just a few yeomanry guards, and you're walking alone among the streets. You see your hotel, Mobius 21. And do you want to go home and just get dressed, or go somewhere else?
Jericho is going to head back to his apartment first, and then he's going to get changed into much more nondescript clothes, so he's not in the attire that he would wear to the Senate. So he's going to change out of basically his Navy uniform and head into something that's a little bit more, or a little bit less conspicuous.
Yeah.
And the only thing he's going to keep with him is his long coat, or sorry, not his long coat, but his mesh cloak. And then over that, he's going to throw on his camellia line cloak.
Nice.
And then he's going to head out towards the slums, keeping to the shadows.
Excellent. So you come up to your apartment. This is a luxurious, large apartment. And you sort of get dressed. And what do you look like when you exit?
So Jericho is a tall and very wiry individual. He doesn't look like he has a ton of muscle, but he is a little bit older. A person that looks at him would probably judge him to be probably about 40 or so. And he has, hang on one second, there's like a lawnmower.
No problem. Okay. Suddenly at night. A lawnmower. Yeah, we can go back to the rest of you guys for a moment. So, you're in your apartment. Do you want to do anything before you go to bed? Before you sleep?
Well, Quentin scribbled down the notes from his message with Carlos. But he doesn't share it with anyone. He just slips it into his own coat. kind of looks over at the group and just gives a shrug. And he's like, well, I don't know about you, but this is quite enough excitement for one night. So, unless anyone has any questions, I think you can put your heads to sleep. I'm gonna head out and just make sure everything is still all good.
As you sort of turn down the little lumen globes in the room, you can hear some loud gunfights outside the hotel. Screaming, someone shooting guns. It lasts for about 10 seconds.
At this point, Quentin is tapping on the microbead. You gonna give me some information about what the fireworks are?
Ross
He's
is
speaking to Elizabeth, that is, by the way.
Ross is bothered enough to look outside the window.
Looking down at the streets, you can barely make out through the trash and the neon lights, filling up the smoke-filled air, creating a barrier, so it's hard to see. But you think you saw a shadow run across the trash at ground level, and you think maybe it was someone dressed in leathers, followed by someone with a helmet.
Does it look like our friend from this evening?
It does not. It is definitely not her.
Just out of curiosity, can I have attempted to follow the red-haired as she departed?
Excellent, yes. You can do a survival test.
Survival,
Plus
huh?
10.
Okay.
Plus 10.
Yeah, I'll do it on the perception. Okay. Where's the box gone? Hang on. The text box has disappeared.
Ah.
There we go.
Shut up.
No, that's it. Go.
Ooh.
Boom!
Excellent. So yes, you follow her out of the hotel. She starts jogging down the stairs and exits into the streets. It's quite windy outside now, and some trash and debris sort of hits you as you exit the door. You see her run into a back alley.
No. I was outside. I never entered the hotel.
Okay. Yeah, you still follow her into a back alley, and she sort of disappears down the street. And how long do you want to follow her for?
I will attempt to continue following her for another hour or so, seeing as see where she slips off to.
Right on. She stops at what seems to be the quote-unquote headquarters of this group. They have stationed guards that go on patrols. It doesn't look like any kind of base or anything organized. You just notice that they're walking on these patrols surrounding a building. They're also heavily armed. There must be like 15, 20 of them. As you hide behind whatever you hide. There's some trash,
Some debris of some kind, yeah.
And you're watching these patrols. There are a lot of them.
Can I see any means of ingress?
Definitely. The patrols are very poor. They're drunk. They're carrying Amasec bottles, smashing them against the wall. This is a very poorly organized gang. There are open windows in the building. There's even an open door. Would require some subterfuge, but you could get in.
Okay. Can I... How far am I away? Sorry, right, let's phrase that. Is this building isolated, or is it...
It's
No.
connected to the whole, basically, block. It's like several buildings connected to each other.
Okay. Do I have means of accessing the roof?
You do. Absolutely.
Okay. I will activate my stammer and attempt to stealthily approach and enter the building via the connecting roofs and open windows.
Okay. So you basically
Because
run
it went
into
so well last time.
Well, it went well in the beginning at least.
It did, yeah.
So you run into the building. You enter the roof. As you come up, you just notice this freezing air up here. It's extremely far up above ground, and that's the first time you notice that the heat produced from the manufactura and the industry warms up the city. But here you're getting a taste of the air from outside the city.
Okay.
You look over to the streets, and you can sort of see them as little dots down there now. And you can climb over to the other building and make your way to one of the windows. And at that point, you can roll a 1d5.
Awesome. Two.
Okay. You basically are hanging from a ledge. You can see one of the open windows that aren't barred shut below you, and you have to do an acrobatics test to jump down there. Plus 20.
Plus 20. Okay. Can I substitute acrobatics for athletics?
You cannot.
Okay. Both are on strength, so. 37 out of 32. Is it worth reroll with the? That's the question, isn't it? I roll it's close. I failed by 5.
Yep. You sort of you try to reach the ledge with your foot as you swing back and forth, and try to throw yourself down there. If you were to do it, you would fall like 10 floors down and just smash against the pavement. You can attempt. You can roll a d5 again if you want to try again.
Okay. Can I position myself securely enough to attempt to use my grapnel to form a line, like a repelling line, to move safely down? Can I secure it in any way?
It does not help very much here because of the wind. It's basically the same principle. If you were hanging from a rope, you would just be swinging wildly from it. It wouldn't help you much. So you can roll a d5 to attempt to make your way into the building again. Could get risky.
It could get risky, but you know what? Fortune favours the bold, right? Elizabeth will attempt to enter. 3.
3. Okay. So, hanging from the edge, you see, you sort of walk around the edge of the building again. You see a sort of a sealed hatch you can try to pry open using a strength test.
Right.
You get a strength plus 10.
Okay. Strength plus 10. What was strength? Will my cybernetic arm aid in any way?
Does it give any bonuses to strength tests?
It's the best quality, so it gives me plus 20.
Excellent. Yes. Then it gives you plus 20.
Cumulative? Or...
Plus 30 now, in total.
Okay.
Oh, God!
I will
How
use
did
my
you
inspiration
fail
point to reroll that because I am getting into this building.
Why?
Determined.
Because I'm not having me failing by 5 and by 4. So if I keep going, in theory, I should eventually pass.
So this is...
There we go.
This is like, to explain what's happening, this is an internal system that I made for getting into... infiltrating groups, that sort of thing, getting into an installation. And Carl is trying to do that alone right now. Is it definitely possible, but risky. So
with
you pry
aid
open
of
you pry open the seal hatch, loosen it just so it doesn't fall down to the ground and alert the guards. But you slither inside, and you're in a converted building that is more like a base than anything. You can hear a factory below, some chatter, and you can roll another d5.
Okay. 5.
Oh god. Moving through a circular door in the ventilation system, it suddenly closes around you. Do a dodge test at -20.
Right, GM, I cannot pass that test.
Okay. Let's see. You take 10 impact damage to your chest, reduced by armor and toughness.
Okay. What hit me?
Basically a ventilation system that you're climbing through right now to get further down. These are not floors. This is like a labyrinth above a factory. There are hot fumes pumping through this ventilation system, and you're crawling through it. Something closes around you, not sure what, but it does a lot of damage to you. You manage to slither past it though, and you can roll another d5.
Okay. Three.
So you sort of make it into a larger room further down. Several floors, you think maybe 3 or 4 floors, have been converted into a giant factory. There are workers walking around carrying huge bottles of what looks like drugs. There are guns everywhere, security cameras, laser tripwires, and you're hanging from this narrow hanging catwalks far above the workers. What are you doing up here? Do you want to get down? Try to get down to the ground level?
Initially, I will make a little. Elizabeth will let loose a little, very quiet chuckle. Just my kind of people. This place is feeling more and more like home every day. At which point she reaches into her gear and pulls out her magnoculars and tries to observe a little closer as to what the items strewn around are.
You get an inspiration point.
Thank you.
And as you look down, you notice that they're actually making weapons. They're producing weapons here. There are also a lot of drugs being produced here, weapon modifications, and you sort of look over to the ammo that they're producing. You can do an awareness test there.
Okay.
If you have any kind of lore in Imperial Guard, you can also do that.
I have Common Imperial Guard.
Yes, roll for that. You get a +10.
Okay, that's on intelligence. Is this in addition to my awareness or instead of? Just out of curiosity. Instead of. Right. What was it plus? Sorry, I missed. I'm not trying to delay you. What was the plus? Bonus, sorry?
The bonus is +10.
Okay.
And you already have a +10, I think, in that? Or just
it's just known. I don't have it trained. It's just known.
Excellent. What they're actually making is they're making some advanced crossbow ammo, theta pattern concussion bolts. They're also making man-stopper bullets and hotshot charge packs. They look like they're almost gearing up for some kind of war.
Who, Elizabeth, as she watches, she still whispers to herself, "Who are you people?" She with one hand she keeps the magnoculars on the people as they're working, and with the other she starts filling in data on one of her data slates. To one side, sort of with a stylus, just scribbling notes on what she's bearing witness to. Once she's identified what's being made, Elizabeth will. She looks around to try and see if she can spot the Scarlet Woman anywhere.
Yes.
In the crowd.
Excellent. You spent some time studying the people here, and you can do a. Let us see what is appropriate. Either scrutiny or awareness.
I will take awareness.
All right.
Any modifiers?
No.
Okay.
Straight up.
Do I reroll that? 50th chance. I will reroll it with inspiration.
Okay.
Boom!
Ooh, shush. Okay. One of the men stepping into the room. You notice when you were studying the file for Aventine, he works in the sanatorium.
Oh, I have a senator.
Yes.
This
You
is
also
intriguing.
You also see several important people here. Not like high up government officials, but sort of, as Kit said, middle management people in the government. Sort of not super important, but definitely rich. Working for nobles and so on.
Okay.
So you basically get confirmation that someone wealthy is involved in this.
Do I see any sigils or identifiers that would link any of these to a particular house or family?
And then you can do a heraldry test.
Elizabeth is not well versed in the in terms of the high houses. Moreover, I'm looking to. Can I copy down as a pattern on the slate to use later? Is what I was trying to go for.
Okay.
Rather than actually identifying them personally.
Yes. We're gonna roll for your ability to draw correctly. Basically.
Okay. All right. I do not have heraldry, so what statistic should that be rolled against? Is it intelligence?
Got it.
Actually, no, all the it's all intelligence. Yeah, it's all against intelligence.
Yeah.
Right.
That'll
Let's see how stupid.
I'll just laugh if she draws like freaking child's drawing.
That's what I'm picturing.
She is a drug addict from a penal colony world. I would like to point that out. Well, she's not a drug addict, but she's a drug user, I suppose. Right. I'm gonna have to put this as a -20 because I don't have that skill. So
No, just a straight up intelligence test.
Oh, straight up intelligence. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, GM. I appreciate that. You're most generous.
Otherwise it'll be
Oh my god!
Oh god! You actually scribble something that resembles the sigil that you're looking at. Amazing.
Okay. At this point, Lisbeth's paranoia and self-preservation instincts start to make her think that it's time to maybe plan an egress and slip back out of the building. Especially after last time where she dug a little bit too deep and ended up at the tender mercies of a particularly unpleasant woman. So she will attempt to egress out of the building stealthily.
Excellent. Roll a stealth test.
Okay, she still has her stomach active, so let's see how well this goes. There you go.
Wow. Okay, so you slither like a snake up into the ventilation system, grabbing hold of a ledge. You sort of pull yourself up. Your suit gets covered in dirt and oil, and as you get closer to the exit of the building, you can hear the howling wind outside. You sort of crawl out. It is pitch black outside. Looking down, you see some of the neon lights light up the street below. And that's how you sort of know the distance to the other side of the street.
Okay.
You have no problem crawling up. You know where you are. You use your grappling line to get up, and you crawl up to the back of the roof. Do you want to do anything else there?
Just with the last little part of the data that she can fit on the slate, she will make a note of the route that she took in order to ensure that she can lead the others back here once she is reconnected with them.
Yes.
And she will pan her magnoculars around to see if she sees anything of interest that might be worthy of investigation further in, like any vehicles that might be leaving, or people transporting goods out. Seeing as it is dark and night, it would be probably the best time for illegal gangs to commit their smuggling activities now. So she's trying to find any indication of direction of travel, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yes, they are definitely going back to the main level. You can see, you sort of mark down the type of trucks that they're driving. You get a good view of what to look for if you were to spot this gang in the future.
With a self-satisfied smile and a little slight whistle, she keys her comlink and to the frequency that she knows that Harlan always keeps active, and just sort of gently but firmly barks into the comlink. Now, I hope you're not fucking that noble you saw earlier, because I've got information. I'm returning to the building now.
Quentin kind of just laughs into the microphone, but says nothing and just kind of prepares himself for the introduction of the woman he hates so much.
Yes. Crawling down from the ceiling, you get an inspiration point, and you get plus 20 the next time you do any roll to recognize this gang. That is
Thank
you specifically, Lisbeth.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, after the session, could you just give me the name of the gang, and I'll put it in my notes.
I will.
Awesome.
Alright, you crawl back to the hotel. All of you go to bed, sleep, wake up the next day. It is a lovely day.
I wanted to interrupt that, GM.
Go for it.
Because Quentin is waiting for Lisbeth to come back. And as she comes through the door, he kind of has just been sitting on the sofa. This shitty little sofa that they've got. And he's got one eye cracked open at her as she kind of comes through, and he kind of just gestures his finger, trying to come closer, and he goes, "Well, ain't someone been busy?"
Lisbeth just gives you a head half cocked, just a look of just disdain. And here you are, lazing on a sofa while I do the God Emperor's work. And yet you're alive, and I'm not filling you full of bullets. You know, there is no justice in this universe.
At this point, Quentin kind of gets up and just steps to her with a sort of ferociousness that he's rarely ever shown anyone. And he kind of grabs her by the scuff of of her clothes and goes, "Don't you dare suggest that I don't know the God Emperor's work."
Would you keep it down, guys? We're trying to sleep here.
"Shut the fuck up!" is all he says. And he kind of just leans into Lisbeth's face and he goes, "You're gonna get yourself killed and the rest of us killed. We work as a unit. You don't just run off doing whatever goddamn thing you're doing, getting yourself killed."
Lisbeth puts a gloved finger on your lips and gives you a look of just pure mockery. My, are you falling in love with me? Are you that concerned that I can't do my job?
I'm concerned that you got a goddamn rosette under your clothes. And if they know that the Inquisition is here, we ain't gonna get anywhere, and I ain't failing for some goddamn punk.
At this point, Lisbeth just shoves you off her and takes a step back. I am covered in grease and oil, and I would like to get clean. And she starts walking over. I'm assuming that there's some sort of sink or something nearby.
Yeah, there's actually a shower room. Just a small 1x1 meter room with a shower in the roof.
Lisbeth starts walking over there, just taking bits of her clothing off as she goes. I like to shower with the door open, but remember this: I keep a gun by my side at all times. And heads up towards the shower.
No
Nice.
amount of water can wash your type of filth. Is old Quentin kind of barks after her.
Oh, you guys are
And then
adorable.
as he passes the door, he just kind of goes, "We're a team. Fucking act like it." And then he just kind of slams it shut and goes off to his bed.
Hi,
Amazing.
Captain.
You guys get an inspiration point both. Incredible.
Yay.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you go to bed then? Go to sleep?
Yep.
Waking up the next day. You're up first, Jericho.
So Jericho just makes his way. Well, first of all, walking through the slums, he grabs his long las and keeps it under his cloak. But he walks through the slums with his cloak on and just some very nondescript clothing. Not really looking like a worker, but not really looking like somebody that's too out of place either. And if he passes any yeomanry, he greets them and that kind of stuff. But continues on his way looking like he's going somewhere.
Awesome. You've been here several times before. You recognize the thugs, sort of biker gang almost looking types. They recognize you as well. They know not to mess with you, and they sort of clear the street when you walk towards the hotel.
Very cool. Are they some of the ones that I might have my peer criminal cartels with?
Yes.
Cool. So Jericho radios Quentin and says, "Captain Jackman, I will be at your place in about 5 minutes. I need to deliver something to you."
Roger that, Carlos. We are ready and waiting for your package.
So Jericho steps through the doors. The wooden door opens with a creak, and he's already been there. He had already scouted the place out for the team to be located here, and just nods to the man at the desk, and then goes up. I assume they took his recommendation on which room to go to.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jericho goes up to the room and knocks on the door 3 times.
And it's empty
And
because
then,
we didn't.
What's that, Kit?
And it's empty because we didn't.
No, they did. They did.
That would be a smart thing, maybe.
You hear a knock on
at
the door.
the
Tuk, tuk, tuk. What do you do?
at the knocks on the door, Quentin kind of puts his lip up to the rest of his lips to his fingers and kind of gestures for the rest of the group to stay quiet. And he kind of reaches and holds his auto pistol in his hand as he kind of creeps towards the door and just opens it a fraction and tucks his head out. And then seeing that it's actually Carlos, he kind of pulls the door the whole way back, but the auto pistol's still behind his back, and he goes, "Oh, Carlos, you're a very quick guy. Come on in."
Jericho inclines his head politely and steps inside, and then pulls his long las out of his cloak and kind of sets it up against the door, or not up against the door, but up against the wall, kind of near the door, but not too far away from him either. And then he produces the data slate and says, "This was left in the dead drop last night. I went to go check it. I've never received a message like this before, but I suspect it may have been left by Malachi, possibly."
At that point, Quentin kind of spins the auto pistol in his fingers like a true cowboy and slips it back into its holster. He raises a brow at the idea of the data slate and kind of gestures towards that dilapidated sofa and, "Well, take a seat. We'll see what we got here. Group, you may want to take on a look at this."
So Jericho goes and sits down and says, "By the way, it's written in High Gothic, and I don't speak High Gothic."
Oh, well, you're very
okay.
lucky here, because I happen to know the good tongue of the rich.
I see you turn on the data slate. It is very. It's a good model. It doesn't look like it belongs to someone who would live in this area. And yes, what is written there? Reisnar. What can he interpret from the text? Okay, here's the translation. Ever-increasing brilliance, the light upon my path. My life for the Emperor, studying tomes and math. I came to this planet as 5, though I am only 1. I have lost my faith to the Emperor's son. His searching question, all is out of reach. All expertise in this subject is something I do preach. Allow me to invite you to my humble home. May the blessings of the Emperor protect you where you roam.
Quentin kind of translates and kind of leans back and lets out a low whistle, and he goes, "Well, seems like we got a man that's wanting some company. Though I ain't sure how humble his house is gonna be and how much he's gonna be in the Emperor's protect, but I guess he wants us to find him."
There is like in the background you'll see hearing a soft whistle. So beautiful.
Lisbeth is in one of the corners, a small pot of recaf just on the side, and a stick of Obscura in between her lips while she's working on her armor for where it got scratched and scuffed last night.
Nice.
She's not paying attention in the slightest.
Well, Carlos, I'm guessing that you anticipated this? Your friend wanting us to visit him?
Jericho nods a few times. He glances around. There's people here he doesn't know, but since they're in the room, he assumes that they're part of the party. And he says, yes, this is something that only my cell would have known about, the locations of all the dead drops that we used. So I can only assume that it's from either Malachi or one of the others, but as far as I know, the rest of the Order Xenos cell has gone dark for months. So Malachi and I were the only ones that didn't have a cause to be in the field and probably aren't dead. So I will warn you, though, that it's entirely possible that somebody captured the rest of the team and interrogated the location of the dead drop out of them, and this could be a trap. So just be aware going inside.
Quentin's kind of carrying his lighter in his hand, and he's just spinning it around as he listens to Jericho, and he just lets out a shrug and he goes, "You understand that in our line of work, every little avenue could be a trap, but the Emperor's light guides us, and we find our way through anyway. The real question is, are you going to be joining us, or are you going to continue watching from the shadows?"
Jericho nods, but then he says, I do understand that everything could be a trap. However, if I had a credit for every careless or perhaps less than discreet inquisitorial agent I ever met, I would be rich. So...
So you met a lot of them, huh?
Well, he glances over at Rose and he says, well, understand my position here is to provide support and aid to inquisitorial missions. So, in some cases, when we have an interest in Aventine, yes. And then he glances back to Quentin and says, Malachi and I have never met face-to-face. He would only know me by my code name. So I could come, but don't think that he's going to see me on a vid picture and all of a sudden, throw open the gates and everything's going to be fine. It could be dangerous.
Quentin's kind of fingers start tapping against the coffee table in front of him. And he's kind of giving Carlos a kind of, Jericho rather, a kind of look that's really hard to comprehend what he's thinking at all. And he just kind of shrugs and he goes, well, I'm just kind of curious, you see, because I don't understand your game. Are you planning to be in this position forever? Or is this the mission to end all missions?
Jericho just raises an eyebrow and says, I have received no communication from my own Inquisitor other than to support this mission. So, until I receive orders otherwise, I believe I still have to continue the Ordo Xenos work. however, within all bounds of possibility, to aid this inquisitorial mission as well.
Well, then I guess I'll leave it to you to decide whether you want to join us. But you are gonna have to tell me where his so humble home is.
Jericho nods at that, and then he moves down on the data slate and he shows the coordinates, and then he pulls out another data slate, the one that he showed before, the one that is the map of the city that he had kind of made.
Excellent. And you sort of coordinate the two. As you point to the location of the coordinates, you notice that it is in the slums. Actually, it's not far from here. You also, as you look down past the data slate, you notice that you're standing in a pile of corpse starch, sort of a food stuff, nasty food. There's some vomit on the floor. The stench sort of gets to you, and the ferrocrete on the walls is sort of about to fall off. There's some rot growing on it, and you just get sort of shivers down your spine, because you haven't been in a place like this in a long time. And yeah, what do you do?
Oh, well, he's just shown us where it is. Not actually left yet.
So
Quentin. Yeah, Quentin kind of turns to the rest of the group and kind of gestures them closer, though pays no attention to Lisbeth. He clears his throat and he goes, "Right, well, before we go on this mission, we better make sure we're all locked, stocked, and barreled. Everyone tell me what their alias is. Make sure you get your story straight. Make sure all your weapons are okay." Speaking of, he kind of taps his shotgun that was beside him, and then kind of starts finicking with it, and he's like, "I seem to have jammed my shotgun yesterday." And he kind of just leaves it to the rest of the group.
Looking over the corner of the room, you notice that Lisbeth is working on some armor. Lisbeth, what have you done with the armor? Can you describe it?
Whilst this whole conversation's been going on and taking alternate sips between a mug of recaf and long draws on her obscura, Lisbeth's been she's essentially, she's doing a Sigourney Weaver. She's essentially in a vest and knickers. Just, she doesn't give a crap.
Oh yeah.
She's a guardswoman. This kind of, she's and she's been with a small select number of very fine tools in a very neat and well maintained leather case that, if you were to look carefully, would probably have the sigil of the Death Corps of Krieg, a regiment that she has never said that she is from or has any affiliation with, and has been slowly removing layers of rust and carefully pushing dents back out of the armor and restoring it to full functionality. And with the odd scrap of leather, she's been increasing the padding behind, like her chest plate and her shoulder plate, so that any impact that she feels there is somewhat reduced.
Awesome. Are all of you ready to leave the apartment now and go and find their apartment?
Well, nobody's confirmed their identity thing. And also at this point, Quentin kind of gives a pointed look to Lisbeth and just kind of goes, "And you need a name and a position, so come up with one. And it can't just be Rat."
Sorry, so it can't just be what?
Rat.
Rat.
Oh, rat.
Okay.
Not my fault Americans speak like this.
Oh dear.
I'd slow down if I was you.
Right. Lisbeth just gives you a pointed look and says, "Eliza, does that help for you? I'll feg off while I work on my armor."
Position, woman?
If you must know, I like it from behind. Does that matter?
Jeez. R-rated the campaign right now.
Jericho lifts
your
his hand.
position on the goddamn ship.
How
I
about
need this position.
the bosun?
Good enough.
Jericho lifts his hand for a second and says, "Well, I appreciate everyone wanting to maintain their cover. A group of heavily armed individuals going into what is essentially the sewers is bound to draw at least a little bit of suspicion. So, if I may propose a alternative path."
I'm listening.
Before you make any more suggestions and carry on, Lisbeth does stand up and saunters over to the group where they're all sat a little bit closer together, I'm assuming, and pulls out her data, holding her data slate, and thumbs the sigil that she copied down from the night before, and just drops it on the table. I saw
That's
that emblazoned on men who were dealing with the gang that attacked us last night. Whoever
Alright.
these people are, they're producing weapons, they're producing ammunition, and they are getting ready for. At least that's what it looked like from where I was sat with my magnoculars.
Quentin kind of just closes his eyes at that, and you can just see the throbbing vein across his forehead where he's just trying to hold back all the curses he wants to yell at her.
That is so pretty. Have you drawn it yourself?
Lisbeth just blows a kiss to you, Kit. Yes, I did.
Oh.
Does anyone recognize this?
Jericho picks it up and studies it.
Jericho, you immediately recognize it. It belongs to the Magister of Justice, Otto Daniker. He is quite high up in the Senatorium.
Does Jericho know anything about him specifically?
Yes, he supports the nobles and the wealthy on Aventine.
Interesting. And, sorry, you said he was Ministry of Justice?
Magister of Justice.
And is he part of a house, our lord?
His house is the Daniker house. He is incredibly powerful, and he has several contacts in the Yeomanry. High up in the Yeomanry.
So Jericho studies it for a couple of minutes, and then he looks up at Lisbeth, and he says, "Where did you get this?"
A woman with red hair tried to do some highwayman work against us while we were approaching the building, and we managed to subdue her. And I followed her from being released from the hotel. She scrolls back along the data slate, taking it from your hands without asking you, and just points to the location that she's drawn. That's the building there. I managed to slip in last night. They're producing ammunition. We're talking big guns here. Special concussion crossbow bolts, dum-dum rounds, high-energy las carbine packs. These guys have a miniature manufactorum in that building.
Oh, the Lex Imperialis once again being corrupted by scum. At that point, Quentin just kind of sighs.
Are you sure they're not trying to sell it?
Jericho shakes his head and says, "No, I don't think these folks would be trying to sell it." So, this is the personal heraldry of a man named Moloch Arlor. He's currently the Magister of Justice of House Daniker. He's very highly placed inside the government. He has a lot of contacts with the yeomanry. He's a very, very important individual. The gang that you said you got in contact with, who were they?
What was the name of the gang?
You just know them as the Scavengers.
The Scavengers.
Yeah.
I I do not know their name. They are simply scavengers, from what I could tell. But knowing the
Was it the Forsaken Scavengers?
Yeah, the
Jericho.
Forsaken Scavengers. The lady
Yes.
was talking a lot about the Sophia lady.
Yeah. I see.
I still have their notes. Rose hands over the notes to Jericho.
Quentin kind of lifts up his hand and he goes, I'm enjoying all this talk about ammunition and armies and big people in big places, but this is not the remit of the Inquisition. We're not here to solve every little conflict and coup. So, unless this has any purpose in our mission, Carlos, I don't see the point of getting involved in any of this.
Well, we sure need clues to not get involved.
Jericho nods a few times, but then he says, remember what I told you the first time we met? It's not the obvious things on Aventine that kill you. It's the things you can't see. So, when you find something like this, the Minister of Justice being involved in a street crime gang, and I'm familiar with the Forsaken Scavengers, he says, this is probably something that we should at least pay attention to, even if we don't investigate further. And so he takes his data slate back from Lisbeth, and he makes a note of the location of the warehouse, and then he gets like a positioning coordinate, and you notice that he starts committing it to memory. He starts doing some kind of rote memorization, kind of a ritual kind of a thing that he does. And then as soon as he's done, he wipes the location off of the map, and even goes so far as to like blank out the location of the warehouse.
Awesome. You get an inspiration point, and all of you sort of standing there in the room. Ross, where are you right now?
Probably in the same room.
Perrin?
Definitely in the same room.
Okay, so you're just sitting on a bed or something. Sort of doing your own stuff, brandishing your weapons. And do you all collectively want... Yeah. Do you want to do anything right now? Go somewhere?
I definitely want to go to the shop before we are actually going to the sewers, because I don't have any protection.
So,
Quentin, oh yeah, go on.
So, I assume Ross mentions that, Kid?
Of course.
Yeah, so Jericho, he thinks for a second, and he says, a group of heavily armed individuals, if we're not from the Yeomanry, or from some other groups in town, would look very suspicious going into the sewers. So, what I would propose is a couple of different things. The first is make sure we all have filtration equipment, something that can help protect against noxious gases, make sure everyone has some type of photovisor. It's going to be pretty dark down there. And then the third thing that I would suggest is and he pauses for a moment, and then he looks like he cracks a smile, and he says, it's a little unorthodox actually, but it's kind of a disguise. He glances around the room, and he kind of picks out the biggest people, right? And he goes, I think we need some maintenance servitors. And by they, I mean you. We could get some maintenance servitor parts, and we get a van. We drive up to the entrance to the sewers. One of us is dressed in Adeptus Mechanicus robes, and then we hop out. We're just a repair crew.
Quentin, at that point, just there's something in his eyes completely changes, and for the first time, he actually looks a little bit afraid at just the word servitor. And he gets up from the sofa immediately and turns away from the group and kind of heads to the broken window.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of rubbing his temples a little bit as he just kind of waits for the rest of the group to make the decision. But he does clear his throat after one point and goes, I ain't gonna play no servitor, so I'll leave that to the rest of you.
When you talk about the biggest, are you talking about the bulkiest or the tallest?
It's really the bulkiest, those that might look like they might make a good repair servitor, because ultimately you're gonna have to carry the gear, you know.
Lisbeth's fairly tall, but not particularly heavily built. That said, she has 2 concealable weapons. So.
And armor.
So. Well, I don't know if how I'd look as a servitor. Anyone volunteering?
Jericho says, "I'll volunteer."
I'll play the Adeptus Mechanicus. Quentin kind of says, and he's speaking quieter than normal, and he just seems reserved, staring out the window.
I'm not very strong myself, but I hold up the inside of my cloak, which is very rugged. It has dirt smeared across it and several patches. And then I turn towards Jericho. But do you think perhaps that I could make my way with this on another route?
Jericho shakes his head and says, "I don't really have a reliable map of the sewers. I would not suggest splitting the team up. If not everyone's able to make the deception work, and I understand that, then what I would say is we slip in a few minutes apart. The servitor group comes in first, and then 10, 15, 20 minutes later, the second group uses the cover of the van, which we need to leave parked outside, and sneaks inside the entrance. That way not everybody sees, he quickly counts and it says like 8 people going in at once. Only a few of them servitors and Adeptus Mechanicus."
Jericho, do an intelligence test. +10.
Just straight intel?
Mm-hmm.
I will re-roll that. Actually, I'll add another +10 with a fate point too. Oh my god.
Oosh. Yeah, never mind.
You want to go for a couple more hours, GM?
I want to go until 23:40, 20 minutes from now.
Okay, cool. Just checking. At that point, Quentin closes his throat and he turns back around. Are we decided, or we still got things to hash out?
I think we have a
Jericho,
plan.
Is it your Adeptus Mechanicus voice?
Jericho laughs a little bit and says, "Hopefully she won't have to speak," but he points at Lisbeth. He points at himself, and then he points at Electra, who Tristan, I assume, is probably pretty bulky, being a sister.
Yeah, she's in freedom units, she's about 6'2", probably around 190 pounds, but that's like mainly muscle.
Yeah, so I think the 3 of us do servitors with Quentin as the Adeptus Mechanicus, and then Ross and sorry, I don't remember Adurna's name.
Elizabeth?
Oh, Perrin.
If you look at the screen, everyone has their character name next to their name. On roll.
I got you. I was looking at Discord. And then Ross and Perrin can sneak in.
Well,
Good with a sneaking old man?
I'm not sure I need to sneak much as a old lone beggar.
well, if anyone has any complaints, this is your time to say them. Otherwise, we're getting the fuck out of here.
Lisbeth bristles a little at the idea of being dressed up. I don't do stealth anyone else's way. You want me coming? I come how I am, and I follow you in. I'm quiet, and I can make myself disappear if need be.
God damn it, you have to make everything complicated in your way. We have a plan. Just stick to the fucking thing.
I don't follow other people's plans. I don't know if you've noticed that. I don't
Well,
really
then you
like
could
authority.
fuck off and not be near our group, because if you get caught, I'm not having the mission compromised.
She,
The Emperor doesn't just shine on one fucking person.
Elizabeth just takes a step closer to you and said,
Amazing.
I don't get seen. Unlike you.
Every rat thinks they're invisible until they get trod on.
Ah, but that's the thing. We get trodden on because we're not seen.
Enough. If she wants to scuttle on behind, that's her problem. But if she's caught in combat, none of us break cover. He kind of points a warning finger at the group. Agreed?
Jericho nods and says that's true for all of us. If you're coming in the second group, the thing that you need to do is make sure that you're clearing the back trail. You're making sure that the first group wasn't followed or observed. So the second group needs to set up observation within sight distance, and then probably come in one at a time. If you get in trouble, you're on your own.
Sounds fair to me. Everyone aware of their positions and the mission.
So let's go look for servitor parts
Awesome.
and make sure we have filtration plugs and optical visors.
All of you make it out to the streets. You're again met with these broken neon lights, broken lumen globes. But fortunately, the sun is about to come up, and you're sort of embraced by this warm air of the slums. As you walk outside, you see a couple of homeless people sort of just dragging themselves across the street, wearing rags. You look up to the platforms above, and you all make your way there. As you look at the data slate and try to follow the coordinates, you notice that the coordinates for this last node does not match the coordinates you got for Mordecai's base. They're two different ones.
Wait, so we picked up a new note?
Nope. Basically, Jericho, you had information from beforehand about Mordecai.
Yeah.
These coordinations from this data slate are not the same that Mordecai gave you.
He would definitely mention that to the team, but that doesn't, with the way that his cell operates, that's not necessarily unusual for him.
Yep. And
Quentin.
they are actually 2 blocks away in the slums.
Quentin kind of pauses and leans over to Jericho and he goes, and now you gotta tell me straight, which one of these are we heading to?
Jericho doesn't even glance over. He just kind of walks alongside Quentin, and then he mouths, as though he's not really talking, but he says, we go to the one in the dead drop first. If that fails, we back out and we go to the other one.
Quentin kind of gives a nod, and they head off to find the parts.
Okay. Walking over to basically what looks to be a sewer tunnel, but it's slightly above ground. You see that it's cracked and there's an opening. It has collapsed, so it's probably not used anymore. And sort of making your way over there. Do you want to make any preparations before you head over? This matches the coordination. The coordinates.
Well, we grabbed a bunch of servitor parts like that before we headed there, GM.
And protection for.
Yeah, we need servitor parts. We need, if anybody can't see in the dark, they need a photo visor, and everybody should have some kind of filtration gear.
We're gonna have to roll for all of this. I think we do.
I'm gonna have to find. Someone's gonna have to roll to find it and acquire it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we can basically roll for requisition. Just do a quick thing out of this. So since this is basically trash, anyone who has a good requisition can attempt the roll.
Wait, while we are looking for stuff in the trash.
Anyone got yeah, some people got better, definitely.
I'll use one of my inspiration points and reroll that.
Yep.
Hey!
Oosh.
That's
Okay.
wrong.
So Quentin, familiar with the clientele down at the slums, finds a junk dealer, and you easily put together some. They don't look modern or good in any kind of way. but you could pass as a servitor of these parts.
We.
It's very
So
cool.
we need filtration gear and night vision.
So, what other gear are you looking for?
Fil-
Specific?
Filtration
I-
plugs.
Yeah, either filtration plugs or rebreathers and some form of photo visor or attachment to a weapon that we could use to see in the dark.
Alright, then you can roll requisition for the appropriate rarity.
All of
If-
us again.
Whoever wants to get it. If it's common, it's going to be pretty easy.
Goddamn, why it's so hard? I failed
Uh,
by 3. I'm not sure if it's have like +10 or something.
Um,
Probably not.
well, if you're looking for a single item, it's +10.
Okay, I
um,
don't have any of those, but probably the rebreather will be the most useful one.
Well,
We
filtration
don't
plugs.
select
Filtration plugs will be useful enough to do it. So you can go if you roll for filtration plugs. Filtration plugs are common. And if you're rolling for yourself, then it's a +10. If you're rolling for everyone else, it's obviously going to be penalties to the amount you're trying to roll for.
that.
Did I roll for everyone? Or was that just for me?
That was just
I think that was the servitor parts.
yeah, that was just the
Yeah.
servitor parts.
Exactly.
So if you
There you go. I rolled
yes.
for, well,
Awesome.
4 degrees.
Okay.
5.
Since this is like a pretty common item here. Yeah, Perrin
Yeah.
and Mogadishu, the both of you walk around and basically get enough filtration books for the whole party.
Can my role then be to get the robes that are needed? Because I'm gonna pretend to be.
the red robes, sort of mechanical
Yeah.
robes. Yeah, you can get that easily here.
Cool. I think we're all set then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost. I don't really see in the dark, and also don't have anything for that.
I think we got enough parts, didn't we?
We got the filtration plugs.
Yeah, you need something that sees in the dark, like photo contacts or something. Or you could just bring a globe if you wanna be conspicuous.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can we? Are we using this as a standard roll, like a standard requisition, so we can use commerce to improve it and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'll attempt to use commerce then to improve my potential roll.
Alright.
Right, 3 degrees of success in commerce.
Awesome.
And
Also plus
then
30 on your requisition.
right, I will
Or is it
attempt.
plus 10 for every second degree. I can't remember.
I think it's plus 10 for every second degree, so that should be plus 20 on the roll.
Are you getting enough for the whole group?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get enough for the whole group. I will go for photo goggles. Photo visors are scarce, so I think that's just a straight up. That's just a straight up roll. There's no penalty for that one.
No bonus.
So that's a 20 additional.
Jerk already has
Boom!
one.
Oosh! Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. How many do you need? How many do you want?
We need 8 in total, don't we?
Jericho has one.
Oh, Jericho has photo visor. Okay, so
I do.
7. Okay, you did it. So 6.
And I have photo lenses.
5.
Counting down.
Any others? Has anyone else got some form of night vision?
Anyone 5? Anyone lower? Yeah, you get 4.
We get
One of you will have to go with that.
Pull the straws.
Elizabeth deliberately gives the visors to everyone who needs them apart from Quentin.
Worsening relationship, if possible.
She just gives you a palted look. Quentin, sorry boss, can only get 4.
Quentin attempts to get his own one.
And everyone gets an what's it called? Fucking
Version.
influence.
Influence.
1 plus.
Just 1 point. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh wait,
This
no,
takes like several hours. You're getting around in the city and so on. Yes, you're all equipped. Do you want to basically?
I need to Well, I
Put
haven't
on
got
your-
my thing vision. I've messed the roll up, so I'm gonna re-roll.
You're trying to get some photovisors.
No, for fuck's sake.
Oh,
Well,
Ooh.
Quentin will just not have one. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to make your way over to the sewer area. Put on the outfit.
Cool.
Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, so basically the plan is the first group needs to put on the servitor gear. Quentin is in the robes. The second group needs to find a spot to set up like an observation post so that they can observe whether or not we're followed or anything like that. And then the second group enters like 15 or 20 minutes after the first group does. And the first group will wait a little while he's in.
Yeah,
Was
I make
Alan
sure that I walk there like an hour early and set up like a begging spot at one of the corners. I've gotten some rags earlier while we were walking around, and I'm gonna sit there and be the poor old blind man that just got hurt in a factory accident.
Awesome. This counts for your subtlety roll. To those who don't know, you have a subtlety roll. It's basically a secret or score. It's a secret thing that I keep track of. You can figure out your subtlety score by sort of probing around, asking guards, that sort of thing, getting a feel for how subtle you're being. But I'm constantly doing those in the background, so this is good. Who's approaching the sewer?
Quentin's in the lead, and he's kind of he's changed how he's walking and everything. He only has his auto pistol and his shock more equipped to his side because he can't fit anything else without it looking obvious. And he's kind of bent on over as he kind of heads straight on with his little servitor minions following.
Yeah, Jericho's following Quentin. Inside the servitor gear, does he have enough space to have his long las, or does he need to leave that behind?
You definitely have enough space. It's pretty bulky.
Oh, can I have my shotgun in my robes?
Yeah.
Oh, fine. I take the shotgun as well.
Making your way over to the opening, there is a door that has been sort of welded shut in a weird angle, 45-degree angle, leading to what looks to be like a homemade base inside the sewer. Someone
Okay.
made this recently. What do you
So
do?
we head down it, don't we?
No, it's a locked door.
It's a locked door. Sorry.
Mhm.
Oh. Quentin kind of closes his door and he goes, Kit Kat,
I'm
go
like,
buy it. Go chew on a new toy.
I'm like 100 meters away in like a dumpster, like the rest of my super secret group. So I just pick up the call and asking, "Are you sure?"
Well, can we like glance at the door and see if there's any obvious like buttons or anything that would, like a Vox communicator or something like that?
There are not.
Come on,
Alright.
Kit.
Right. I'm leaving my hidey hole and coming there like there's no tomorrow. No, actually, I look if there's anyone, but I have like 20 perception, so it doesn't matter. And I'll go open the door.
We're all like standing kind of in front of where she's going, so it's kind of like we're blocking any view, just looking casually.
Alright.
Yeah. So Ross, you're coming over to them?
And I'm opening the door and I'm failing slightly.
Yeah. What does
Right,
this
I
look
will
like
open
when you're struggling to open the door, Ross?
Just those 4 bulky guys behind me, and I'm just opening up my toolkit, trying to jam a few pins into the doors, and it's kinda not rotating, and it's not as easy as always. Okay, I'll reroll that.
Quentin kind of looks over his shoulder and notices
Oh.
she's there. Oi,
Oh, God.
hey, the music!
Really? Okay. For a lock, I don't know how she's gonna do this.
Yeah. So I guess when I was thinking that I'm failing and just removed the pins, the doors unlocked and just, oh yeah.
It's the most miraculous opening of a door ever. The lock slams open. Ross, you stand there. You barely touch the door. You like literally touch the lock. And then you
Oh,
hear
it
a
was
loud...
open all along, Captain.
but except you hear a long locking mechanism that like goes in a series of several loud slams. You set in motion a series of opening locks, Ross, by just touching the door. And the door opens. You're standing
Quentin
there.
was kind of looking over his shoulder as he watched her do it, and his eyes kind of go a little bit wide, and he goes, "My God, I've never seen a woman make love to a door before." Then he just chuckles,
that's-
turns around to go through.
The room behind the door looks austere. Half of it is like barely used and filled.
Hold on. Wait
Stacks.
1 minute. This is a tradition
Okay.
in the party where we play this awkward music, and then whoever is doing the natural one has to describe it in awesome detail. Ross,
Yeah.
you dropped the ball a little bit there. You had an opportunity. That was a natural one. Well. It's basically like an opportunity to describe how amazing the action is. But yeah, the door opens. What do they say? Listen.
So the room is quite austere, but half of the room is barely used and filled with stacks of papers, scrolls, books, data slates, and paintings. The other half is ruined plascrete. It's collapsing into this little dugout side tunnel from a nearby sewer. A single glow globe sits in an ancient bent brazier on the wall, and a small corner has been cleared filled with a cot and normal living necessities. In the center of the room is a large mess dominating the entire floor, with a single person amidst it. The person is sitting on what appears to be a metal box that used to store ammunition. Behind her is a large tangle of cables, screens, keyboards, and cogitators. Parts of her standard issue power armor peek out beneath a flowing gray and red robe. Adorned in various scrolls, incense, and holy symbols, she appears young and has short white hair, pale skin, piercing gray eyes, though one of them is covered with a scar on without sight. The lower half of her face is covered with a rebreather, and currently she sits with one finger on her left hand raised, silently asking you to wait. Her right hand, if it could be called a hand at all, ends in numerous miniature autoquills, data slates, clips, and writing surfaces, a picked recorder and keyboard. A scroll of text is slowly unfolding down that hand and being filled with tiny, fast, cryptic symbols. As a sororita stands up smiling and begins to stride forward towards you in greeting, taking a step and a half, her head is yanked backwards as if tethered by something. She then notices that she forgot to unplug her interface port, grins absurdly, and quickly dislodges herself from the cogitator behind her. The cable winds up into her spinal cord, disappearing from sight, and she crosses her arms across her chest, giving you the Keeling greeting. Emperor smiles upon me today. I'm so glad to have visitors.
Whoa, dude, that was epic. Thank you, Tristan. Sister Electra. No, not you, Tristan. Resnar. Sister Electra, as you see this, you immediately recognize the woman standing in front of you. It's quite an amazing moment for your character. We're gonna end it here on a cliffhanger. Because that's how you do it. But yeah, good stuff. Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, GM. Thanks for that,
Right.
everyone. Did we get any XP? Because I literally always miss whenever we did.
XP is coming. Resnar, sorry for keeping you waiting that long.
Yeah, it was a long time.
You never know what happens in a session, and this time it was a lot of good role playing, but it took longer than expected.
It's okay.
I can't really control anything, but thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. In my opinion, it was worth it for your amazing description.
Yeah, definitely.
And looking forward to seeing what you got in the future. Yeah. That's
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Just a little note to the newbies as to why Quentin first refused to be a servitor. In the first ever mission that we did, like the beginning mission, Quentin basically betrayed the group a little bit and ran.
Oh.
And the Inquisitor was going to make him into a servitor, and by some miracle, he survived the process. So yeah, just a little backstory, because I don't think anyone but Carl was there at that point, so yeah.
Oh.
No,
Makes
I was the last one.
So, could I ask a little bit more about like the connection between me and Reznar's character? Because
Oh, so I spotted the dead drop just while walking about, and I've been searching for another war band to get in contact with for my own reasons. It has nothing to do with your organization whatsoever. I jacked your dead drop.
Okay, I must have missed that. I had to step away for a moment or two throughout the session. My parents are back home from being overseas, and they like to bother me. So my dad is currently obsessed with Pokemon Go, and came in to
1 year too
yell
late.
at me about.
I was gonna say, it's a little bit delayed there.
Yeah, my nephew's the one who turned off my internet connection.
Oh man, that's
Oh, really?
Unplugged.
Nice.
Yeah, he just unplugged a plug, and I was like, "What the frick is going on here?"
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Oh.
my cat, he don't know